All right, guys, how's it going? We are back with another awesome reaction video. We have part two of Efteling, and I'm saying it right this time. I was completely butchering it. So it's Efteling, not Effeltine or whatever monstrosity I was saying. I probably mistake it again as well, but
I mean, it sounded
we're back.
right.
It did, yeah. But then after looking at it, I can tell that the T,
It's clearly,
yeah. So,
yeah.
but anyways, part two, Efteling reaction. I almost messed it up again. The incredible fantasy part. So let's check this out. We're gonna jump right back in where we left off. Which was on a black screen.
As Efteling moved into the 21st century, quality experiences would continue to be added to the park. To commemorate the 50th anniversary of the park, a 4D theater would be added in 2002 called Panda Dream.
4D, huh?
The premise is that guests join a panda as it explores the beauty of the natural world through a dream. While not particularly interesting, at least to me, the show did let out into a detailed and well-themed quick-service restaurant called the Octopus.
Looks like that reminded me of
A detailed and well-themed
not necessarily a Panda Bear, but there's a restaurant called what is it?
Panda Express?
No, Rainforest Cafe. They got them in Chicago and stuff like that, and they have gorillas like that. And the inside of the cafe is like this, but it'll be like gorillas, like the animatronic, like robot kind of gorilla hidden in like the jungle with, reminds me just like that.
quick service restaurant called the Octopus. Panda Dream concluded its run in April 2019 and was replaced with a film called Fabula in December of the same year. The concept is incredibly similar, with a bear and a squirrel visiting the habitats of other animals through a dream. The new Fabula restaurant also manages to preserve a lot of the theming from the previous iteration, which is a plus, I think. The next major addition to the park would be a water coaster in 2007, known as the Flying Dutchman and manufactured by Kumbak. Guests enter into a well-themed building, and the atmospheric queue offers a lot of interesting elements. The story of the attraction starts with a character named Willem van der Decken, who is the commander of the ship called the Dutchman of the Dutch East India Company. However, despite being a wealthy trader, greed gets the better of him and he starts to practice piracy, recruiting his crew from orphanages. On Easter in the year 1678, he sets sail in spite of the holy day and sails right into an approaching storm, meeting damnation and is cursed to sail the seas forever. The queue starts in Van der Decken's house, and eventually moves into the smuggler's tunnels, where his stashed treasure can be seen.
It's cool. So it's like it's like the bottom of like an old ship back in the day. Like, yeah. And do you know about the Dutch East India Trading Company?
Not really.
Maybe you heard about it a few times. Yeah, that was way back in the day, like late 1600s, I think, early 1700s. They call it like the part of the Dutch Golden Age. But that was like the height of like the spice trade and all that stuff.
Oh, okay.
And like, and it was like the biggest company to this day. Like if you add inflation, it was worth like 7.9 billion dollars.
The spices?
No, the company, the Dutch East India Trading Company, like what it's worth. And to this day, it would literally be like the biggest company on the planet. Like if it was still around, way bigger than like Google, Apple, Amazon, like all that stuff. And, employed more people on the planet than like all those companies would if you adjusted it to nowadays.
That's nuts.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Like there was like a way big percentage because they had outposts in different places around the world. They're taking these ships from this place. So there's all these places, these outpost ports around the different countries that are employed by them to run the ports and the trade ships that come in and all that. So it's like a huge network of people, and yeah, very interesting. So yeah, that would be really cool to check this out. But I think they said this got replaced, didn't they, or something? Or was it the one before that? One of them got replaced, it said.
Yeah, I don't know.
With something else in 2018 or 19, I think.
Must have missed that.
Yeah. Well,
I've been like looking.
Right, there's a lot of information.
Yeah.
From the tunnels, guests move through the queue into the cellar of a pub and eventually outside into the harbor under a dark, clouded sky. Guests board a boat and move through a tunnel.
Yeah, see this right here? It's almost the same logo because it was actually the Dutch East India Company would have been VOC. It stands for something. The Dutch East India Trading Company like had a different name in Dutch. I think that's the English name for it. So in Dutch, but it stands for VOC, and it's almost the same logo as this. But you see it a lot, like Pirates of the Caribbean has kind of like a lot of the Dutch influence, like the Dutchman, the ship or whatever that's in there. Yeah.
Merging into another section of the harbor featuring docked ships. From here, the boat moves out into the pitch black sea, where fog and wind effects create an impending sense of doom.
Ooh, I don't know if...
The water, huh?
Yeah, that like...
It creeped you out, huh?
Makes my toes
Traveling
curl.
through the fog, a strange ethereal noise can be heard, and a strike of lightning reveals the fearsome Flying Dutchman to be on course to intercept the boat. The guests are enveloped in darkness again briefly, until they suddenly find themselves being swallowed up by the Dutchman and fall down a short drop before entering the lift hill.
You'd be creeped out on this right now.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do that.
You want to get
The
this one over
sea,
with?
ocean and stuff, that's
Yeah.
my number one fear.
Well, then that's one thing that would make it where you wouldn't want to go to the Netherlands because they're under the ocean level, under the sea level. But it's safe. Like the dikes and stuff are there to like prevent it from coming in, so you don't.
For now.
You know, if you're like standing in the middle of the city, you can't tell probably. You know what I mean? Because it just feels like you're in a city like anything else, I'm sure. But you just know, like you're like 6 or 9 meters under sea level, like in the back of your mind, you know.
Yeah, I mean, as long as I'm not in the middle and like water's completely surrounding me.
Then you don't want to be on a polder because that's where they make the new land and they make the dikes all the way around and then they drain the water out of the middle. So you're just in a bowl surrounded by water.
I wonder if they found cool stuff too.
Oh, all sorts of boats and shit. There's still people to this day that find like boat stuff in their backyards from like where it used to be ocean and like a sunken ship. Like
that's crazy.
I want to check out some videos on that actually.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty sweet. But yeah, let's jump back into this.
Here, the guests encounter the captain, before escaping outside the show building and running through a brief but tame coaster segment.
Oh shit, and then it gets
supernatural theming. The Flying Dutchman is
that would
considered
scare
a
me.
family coaster and ends in a splashdown, which can be adjusted to have a smaller impact in the colder months of park operation. From here, the boat wanders around the waterfront until it enters a tunnel and returns to the station. The attraction is often criticized.
That castle shit back there looks cool, don't it?
Mm-hmm.
You're watching that when it was coming through? Go back just a second.
Until it enters a tunnel and returns to
look
the
at all
station.
that.
Mm-hmm.
The attraction is often criticized for being short, but I have to admit that the theme and show effects are a huge draw for me. The queue and interior portions of the ride also seem to just ooze atmosphere, which I of course expect from any Efteling attraction. In 2010, a new dueling wooden coaster called George and the Dragon would premiere at the park. It replaced the 1991 addition to the park called Pegasus, which was also a wooden coaster. Originally manufactured by Din Corporation until the employees went on strike, the coaster was finished by Intamin and lacked theming. The coaster just seems to be okay, until its replacement appears to be an overall improvement. George and the Dragon was manufactured by GCI, and is themed
George and the Dragon, it said. That's funny.
To a dragon that terrorizes the kingdom of what I presume is either a knight or possible monarch named George. Riders can choose either side, one themed to water and the other to fire. Whichever coaster wins, banners will drop in the station and a fanfare will play. In general, George and the Dragon seems to be considered an okay GCI coaster, but what makes it fun is the dueling aspect and the theming.
See, I'm not a big roller coaster person anyways. I can handle some of them, maybe not so much now that I'm older.
You probably could do that one, or the other one that was...
But the thing with this one is coming from like a technical perspective and like I know how machines work and stuff like that. This is wood. I trust that a lot less than metal sometimes, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It just seems, the wooden ones just seem rickety.
I don't know.
Make more noise.
The one on Indiana Beach. Oh man, that'll give you whiplash. It's the oldest one there, made of wood.
I bet those things are rough.
Yeah.
When the attraction opened, the dragon would raise its head and breathe fire into the air. However, it seems to have stopped since, for reasons I cannot seem to find. The next coaster to premiere at the park would be Baron 1898, which is a dive coaster manufactured by B&M and premiered in 2015. As with George and the Dragon, Baron is certainly not the most exciting.
I'll go back.
Came out of nowhere.
98, which is a dive coaster manufactured by B&M and premiered in 2015. As with George and the Dragon, Baron is certainly not the most exciting of its coaster type out there, as the layout leaves a bit to be desired when compared to other models. However, Efteling always makes up for the shortcomings with theming. The story of the attraction is that in 1898, the wealthy Baron Gustav Hoogmoed discovers a cave full of gold deposits that is haunted by entities known as the White Women. One of the spirits warns the Baron that if he disturbs the gold, he will suffer and be cursed for the remainder of his life. In an attempt to bypass the spirits, he tempts the impoverished locals with work in the mine, where they often suffer from terrifying supernatural events or are even chased out. As guests enter into the mining offices, they encounter a pre-show that is interrupted by the White Women and then move to a second pre-show where they encounter the Baron, encouraging them to disregard the supernatural speculation. From here, guests next enter into the maintenance shop where they board the mine carts.
It looks really fun.
Yeah.
Before the coaster ascends the lift hill, a scene plays out where the spirits attack. From here, the coaster moves up and out of the building before being dangled over the mine shaft where the guests can hear the spirits wailing.
That kind of scared me even.
Ooh, it don't look fun no more. My asshole just dropped out. Or my stomach dropped out through my asshole.
Building before being dangled over the mine shaft where the guests can hear the spirits wailing.
It's cool though that there's like, that's just not like a standard coaster. Like there's like a whole, it's like by the time you're halfway through the coaster, you done watched the whole movie or something. You know what I mean? Like there's all this story behind it. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And then it just dumps you out here.
Yeah.
Like that one where it was like all black and you're in the ocean and stuff, right? Going around the Dutchman ships. Then all of a sudden it just like flips you out, bright ass light, and then you're just like whipping down, you know, just out of nowhere. It just like gets you like this. It's a cool view, actually, too. There's people's feet dangling over there on the bottom right.
It finally drops and finishes the rest of the course.
So does your stomach.
Baron 1898 might not be the most exciting B&M dive coaster, and is actually one of the smaller models. However, I think the theming and story more than justify its existence.
That's an man.
Small ones, I could ride that.
Why is it that the older you get,
Oh, yeah.
This just makes me almost nauseous. I'm like, gosh.
Well, you used to also want to get your ass out in that snow and make snow angels when you were a kid. Now you don't want to do nothing to do with the snow. It's too cold.
Certain age, you just start to die. And
right.
Can't do stuff you used to.
But yeah, I can do the small coasters. I think my problem is the heights when I'm like really far up and then I'm dropping. I don't like that. Like going like this real fast, scooting across the ground, flipping around. I could do that. That looks fun.
You could go all the way around.
Yeah, I rode the corkscrew.
I remember that.
The corkscrew, I don't know for sure about the world, but like in the country, and then maybe not now. I was like 17, 18 when I went there. But the corkscrew at the time had the most amount of like turns in a coaster, and it was also the shortest coaster. So it was just literally like shot you out, or like you went up, you know, the first hill, it wasn't terrible, but then you dropped down and it was just goes down and then just spun you around a whole bunch, do like a whole bunch of loops, and then you're pretty much done. So it was real short, but it was fun. But I wasn't like, you know, way up in the sky and I'm, you know, all that. Like I don't like that.
Yeah.
Like
I get
falling.
that.
I don't like falling.
Yeah.
At this point, Efteling has a pretty solid coaster lineup in addition to its other themed experiences. However, there is one last major ride to talk about.
One last major ride. Are you excited?
Mm-hmm.
It's probably going to be pretty badass because so far most of them were.
Efteling, like many theme parks, offers characters that are either roving or can be met in designated areas.
Cool.
Yeah, it is.
In 1989, the park introduced a mascot for its marketing, a jester from the planet Symbolica named Pardoes. While a popular icon and meet and greet character, he would finally get his own attraction in 2017. Aptly named Symbolica, this trackless dark ride manufactured by ETF Ride Systems brings guests into the Court of Hearts to meet with King Pardolphus. Guests eventually reach a pre-show where a character known as OJ Punctual reads the court rules out loud before meeting the king. Pardoes interrupts and invites the guests on a magic journey through the rooms of the castle. He then casts a spell that splits the staircase in two, revealing a secret passage in dramatic fashion. When guests get to the station, they board the ride vehicles called Fantasy Floats. Before you board, guests can choose one of three routes, which are the Hero Tour, Music Tour, and Treasure Tour. The attraction has 11 scenes in total, but only 9 are shared, leaving a unique scene for each vehicle depending on which you choose. The ride vehicles also include an interactive dashboard for the front row, which is a touch-controlled device that allows riders to interact with elements of the scenes. As the ride starts, guests are moved down a hall and into the first scene where they meet the Grand Magister Alamar, who is the mentor of Pardoes. As you'll notice, the scenes of this attraction contain quite a bit of detail and impressive special effects.
Is this supposed to be the planets revolving around, or is it just a bunch of like crystal orbs? Is that supposed to be the sun there in the middle, right? And then
yeah, it looks like the Earth.
And then this is Mars, right?
There's the Earth. The planets.
Yeah. No, I get what you were saying here. See, I don't know, 'cause some of these are pretty bright though. Either way, that looks really cool.
Notice, the scenes of this attraction contain quite a bit of detail and impressive special effects. Pardoes appears and evokes magic, causing the observatory to become enchanted with star constellations appearing above the planetarium. The ride vehicles circle about and exit the observatory, moving next into a hall where enchanted butterflies can be seen, and then the vehicles move out onto a balcony, where a diorama of the city of Hartenstad can be viewed. Like Dreamflight, I appreciate that
of the city of Hartenstad. So is this a real city?
Hartenstad can be viewed. Like Dreamflight, I appreciate that a diorama is used to evoke forced perspective of the audience.
Yeah, it is.
When the scene concludes, the vehicles move backwards into the botanical, where magical plants are growing. Outside the glass panels, a large animatronic whale swims down and accidentally hits the glass with its tail, causing cracks to appear and water to start leaking in.
Wait, what? How did they...
The vehicles quickly move away and encounter Pardoes again as he guides you to the appropriate tour that you chose. Once the vehicles are parked in these portals, which are all decorated differently depending on the tour you chose, OJ Punctual will address the riders from somewhere in the room and inform them that the tour is cancelled. However, Pardoes will reappear in the mirror, conjuring up a key with the interactive help of the riders that will open the way into the next scene called the Hidden Fantasy Depot.
So it's just part
if
of
riders
it,
choose not to interact, the scene will play out regardless, although slightly differently. This scene also takes a picture of the riders as it plays out. Next, all the vehicles converge in this room, where cabinets full of enchanted objects come to life, and each vehicle will end up in a scene unique to their respective tour.
Wow.
The treasure tour will come to a room where a large diamond is presented and reflected in the many mirrors. Here, riders can change the color of the diamond through the interactive dashboard.
Cool.
In the music tour, riders will encounter an organ that can be manipulated through the interactive feature. Finally, on the Heroes Tour, riders can interact with suits of armor that will battle each other. Once these scenes conclude,
it's like a next level, like
I've never been to anything like this.
You know the little robot things back in the day? The little plastic, you push the buttons and they box each other?
Yeah.
That's like next
level. They still have this.
Yeah, but they don't have them like this. That's what I'm saying. Like next level ones, though. Like full on knights, you can interact and make them fight. And yeah, I haven't been in nothing like this either. That's pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
Like I really want to go. I wonder if there's anything similar, because it's a theme. You're used to going to amusement parks, roller coaster kind of. We need to find a theme park.
I haven't really gone to a lot of those either.
Well, yeah, neither have I. Just Cedar Point, Indiana Beach. A couple times, like twice at Cedar Point, and I think twice at Indiana Beach. 3 times maybe Indiana Beach, but it's just an amusement park.
You've been to Disney World?
I haven't been. I was going to. But I've been to. Yeah, you're right. Epcot Center, Magic Kingdom or Animal Kingdom or whatever. But they're not. I mean, I guess Animal.
Nothing like this.
Not quite. No, it's
they put a lot of thought into doing all of.
Oh yeah, and the miniature dioramas or whatever they're called. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is cool here. You can make these fight
with suits of armor that will battle each other.
Yeah.
Once these scenes conclude, the vehicles move into the Champagne Passage, where audio cues and air bursts simulate the bottles popping.
We could drink wine.
At the end of the passage, the palace chef is seen with a stack of pancakes that almost topple over. Finally, the guests all make it to the King's Hall, where a feast and a dance are in full swing. OJ Punctual lets his disapproval be known, but the king and his daughter welcome the guests to the feast. The vehicles begin to dance throughout the room, and Pardoes enchants the party to make it even more lively. When the scene ends, the guests move into the Gallery of the Fanciful, where their pictures are on display in the form of a painting, and from here, the attraction concludes.
It's cool because it's different scenes, just like a scene of a movie and this and that. It's like, or a chapter, in a book, or like.
How they say for YouTube, it's like, don't try to.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, your audience.
Right.
Like, don't try to
reach everybody.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Seems like they do on this a little bit.
Well, it's
kind of in a
fantasy theme park, though.
Cut.
So they have right. So they have different themes, I guess. Like.
Yeah, that is super cool.
So just like an amusement park, they have different stuff to appeal to every.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah.
Not only is Symbolica a great addition to Efteling, but it's one of the best trackless dark rides ever created. In my second video that I ever published, I spoke about how underutilized the trackless ride vehicles are for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. I noted how odd it was that these attractions were largely linear, and that there really wasn't any reason to use this type of ride system in them. In contrast, Symbolica serves as an example of how to do trackless rides right. Not only are the ride vehicles equipped to give you unique experiences depending on the path you chose, but the interactive element is a unique novelty that affects the physical environment around you.
That is really cool.
I also find the extensive details and practical effects far more enchanting. I never understood why people thought that Rise of the Resistance was so impressive with its over-reliance on projections and screens, when we have experiences like this instead. Perhaps there are some discrepancies in animatronic quality, but I'm more interested in overall experiences rather than the smoothness of Kylo Ren's animation. To digress, Symbolica is a world-class addition to a world-class park. It's the next natural step in Efteling's dark ride roster, and it excites me for the potential of future attractions.
They were talking about the Star Wars thing and the screens, and right. I think this would be cooler too, because this isn't just a screen with animated stuff on it. Like, if I wanted to watch it, scroll through somewhere and watch screens around me, I'd sit at the house and wheel around on a fucking chair. Right. You know what I mean? This is like a 3D environment. Like, it's actually moving. You move your head at a different angle, you see different things.
Mm-hmm.
It's immersive. It's more than just a screen with some cool effects. That's what makes this work, and what makes it really cool, I think. Yeah.
I agree.
I had a lot of work to put that shit together, too.
Efteling is such an amazing park that offers so much more than what I even covered. I tried to give a bit of both history and commentary on some of the larger attractions that the park offers, because I find the magical and fairy tale theming so intriguing. As a staple theme of the theme park industry,
I want to know how to do the water thing. Right here, where it cracks and there's water pouring through. Is that holograms or special effects? I get,
Yeah, I wonder if it's actually real water and it just comes out from a tube, and when it falls, it goes in a drain, and it kind of
could be,
or
little hoses that squirt it out. But I think that's animatronics there. That's so it's just like a robotic kind of whale.
Yeah, that's
kind of
crazy.
Thing. Yeah. So then when it cracks, maybe that's just like a light that projects on to make it look like it's cracking. I don't know. It's really cool.
Fairy tale theming so intriguing. As a staple theme of the theme park industry, Efteling stands as the epitome of how to do fantasy correctly. There were a number of things I wanted to mention and go into detail with, such as this incredible looking show called Ravelin. This is definitely one of the more...
What's this guy doing? Just
random?
Just coming up out of the water like a demon or something. What is he doing? Those waterfalls are cool.
This incredible looking show called Ravelin. This is definitely one of the more ambitious shows that I've ever seen created.
Okay, it's another show.
The park also offers a number of well-themed and historic experiences, such as the building that houses the steam-powered carousel that dates back to 1895.
Those are always cool.
The Fairytale Forest, just by itself, is worthy of an entire video just exploring its various scenes and history.
What is it? The Fairytale Forest? Is that what it is called there? I'm going to have to check into that. Hold on, let me see. I'm making a lot of background noise. My keyboard's over here at an angle.
That dates back to 1895. The Fairytale Forest, just by itself, is worthy of an entire video just exploring its various scenes and history. There are also a number of well-themed attractions that I never even mentioned, and I only just barely touched the park's entertainment and food options.
Wow.
Oh,
What lessons can we learn from Efteling, though? In this era of high-profile and story-driven dark rides, the classics that focused on populating their scenes with details
Is that a kid
and
in a
animation
cage?
rides
Let's find out.
options.
A kid in a cage, is that what you said? Or
Yeah.
a cave?
A kid in a cage.
Cage, yeah.
What lessons can we learn from Efteling?
Oh, yeah, it is.
In this era of
Yeah.
high-profile and story-driven dark rides, the classics that focus
Oh, no. They're milling.
What are they?
They're milling. See, this is a circle. They're spinning it around. There's the gears. They're probably milling like flour maybe or like whatever, but they're spinning. So they're probably servants.
In this era of high-profile
See?
and story-driven dark
They're
rides,
spinning it.
the classics
Oh.
that focused on populating their
Slaves,
scenes with
maybe.
details and animation have a lasting effect on audiences. Incorporating elements like wind, fog, or scent that helps immerse guests into the dense atmosphere of such
Scent,
attractions
that's cool.
is something that seems to be lost in this newer era. Efteling also reveals a much stronger signature of creativity, with an emphasis on attractions that impress and captivate their audiences, rather than shooting for cheap IP tie-ins. Efteling's brand isn't film characters. Instead, it's the quality and creativity that the park offers, because it seems to have a history of being run by people who actually care.
Yeah, exactly what I was saying on the when we did the first part of it. They're not like going after movies that are trending and, you know, nobody's going to give a shit about that movie 30 years from now.
Right.
This is still really going to be something that's interesting 30 years from now for sure. Like fairies and like the mythical creatures and like all this stuff that's, you know, it's not a long lost movie that they're just trying to ride the hype or something of, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But again, you know, Disney, America, it's just all about what's going to sell now. You know, they don't care about long term.
Like history.
Right. This is something that's like they're creating a lot more than that, you know?
Yep.
Efteling, while fantastic, is definitely more obscure than the big players like Disney and Universal. Let me ask my audience this.
What's that?
Have you heard of
Aladdin.
Efteling before?
Oh, yeah.
If not, what do you think about the many attractions that I showcased here? If it's
That's
a park
cool
that
that-
interests you, there's so much more to discover about its history and attractions than what I cover here. As always, if you enjoy these types of video essays, I strongly encourage you to just quickly hit the like button. I try to
Hit that
post a
like
video at least
button.
every 2 weeks, but as you can see with the more ambitious scope here, sometimes it takes
Let's
a
do
bit
it.
longer. Because
Make it
of this,
small.
I also recommend hitting the subscribe button with bell notification so
I was gonna
that you can be
boop that
alerted
like
when new
button.
videos are released.
I will in a second.
If you
Okay.
enjoy this type of stuff.
Because it was like right there we go. I was just letting it finish out. So yeah, part 2 of the Efteling.
That was awesome.
I said it wrong. Efteling. Efteling. And yes, I'm going to click a like button actually. And I'm probably just going to go ahead and subscribe to that channel. You guys should as well. The link to that will be in the description section down below as always. And what do you think
thank
about
you to
this?
who was it, John?
Yeah,
Who
John.
told us about this?
Yeah, he suggested it. Yeah, thanks,
yes.
John.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Efteling. I'm saying it wrong. Efteling. I keep wanting to say Effelton.
Yeah,
switch this back.
I'm gonna put that on the bucket list.
You want to go there now?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I
That'd
do
be
too.
awesome.
Well, one of these days, if we ever travel Europe, maybe here in a few years or something, get COVID out of the way and get some passports figured out and get some money figured out here in about 2 years or something like that. Once it all simmers down, I don't know. But yeah, you guys take care. I'll see you in the next video. You'll see her in the next video if you go check out her channel because she has one. So
I do have some videos coming out soon. So
yes, she does. So you guys go check those out. Have a super fun, awesome day, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah. Bye.